be a ZVT on MLG Metalopolis. Again, this is going to fall into my co-caster Amaface's realm, as I am the Protoss player. A bit singled out here. Not always too comfortable with knowing what's going on in Terran versus Zerg, but my co-caster Amaface used to play Zerg, now currently playing Terran, so he was going to feel really comfortable with this matchup.
Oh yeah, I've seen this matchup obviously both ways, and it is actually a very interesting matchup that very recently has come around almost full circle with a lot of the Reactor Hellion openings. Now let's see if Crusader wants to do that, or if he's going to do a little more kind of meta play and does more straight to tanks, because a lot of Zergs try to hard counter the Hellion openings by getting roaches very fast, but if you get tanks very fast, especially with Siege, that's going to just completely annihilate any roach openings. But before we start talking about more strategy, we first have Crusader playing as the Red Terran for LSU. Yay, look at fanciness. And this SCV was a little confused as he's now behind the mineral patch. And then for the Fighting Boilermakers Purdue University, we have Endless Waltz as the Green Zerg. Oh, look at how suave he is. I don't think that there's going to be any like big cheese plays. What has come completely out of style in the TVZ matchup is the 12 racks, double 12 racks opening into a bunker rush. On this map, because it's still small, even with cross positions, we can see a bunker rush happening, but it won't be that very aggressive 2 racks kind of opening. And we're really.
I do believe that. The spawn positions on MLG Metalopolis are forced into no close by air either. Is that correct or no?
Correct. They can't spawn in close air, and what that means is, with Crusader being in the 9 o'clock position, Endless could not spawn in this 12 o'clock position, and same thing if Endless is here, Crusader can't spawn in the 6 o'clock position. And so right away we have Crusader scouting the 6 o'clock position and then directly into the 3 o'clock position.
Yeah, so, you know, those players are going to scout the wrong way the first time, but it's not going to take them too long to find each other. And it looks like Endless Waltz is going to throw down that pool before the spawning pool. Pretty normal in Zerg versus Terran, so
yeah,
it looks like we are going to see a pretty standard game.
For most kind of Zerg openings, taking a 14 hatch and then he took a 15 pool, it looked like very standard. So we're still not going to see too much variation, but we are now having a semi-fast gas here, so that's probably going to indicate fast speedlings rather than roaches in my estimation.
Okay, and those speedlings will definitely just be used to get a bit of map control. You know, probably pick off any Marines that are sticking around by the Zelnaga Watchtower. And, yeah, so I think it's really going to be on Crusader to decide what he's going to end up doing. Is he going to be putting on a bunch of pressure, as he does seem to be building that factory. Doesn't seem to be going for any really quick command center.
He is going for, it looks like, the Reactor Hellion, so he could be throwing down a command center around the, I think it's the 430 mark, as we even have some minerals being packed up. So if he's doing this right, and he might even throw down an offensive command center, yep, oh, at 428, so I was a little off, forgive me. This is actually fairly risky to do versus a Zerg player, especially scouting this early gas, because early Zergling pressure can really halt mining from this base completely and may even cause a liftoff. And that's why he's getting these Hellions out so fast to counteract those speedlings. But it doesn't look like Endless has began the speedling research, but isn't making too many lings yet. We even have the defensive spine crawler. So Endless Waltz still feels a little in the dark of what is going on, as he saw the factory but did not see the reactor go down yet.
Yeah, and I think you're actually stuck on the big map view right now. So, but it looks like the Zerglings do end up scouting those Hellions. It scouts both of them, so if Endless Waltz does know his timings, he will know that there was a reactor on that factory, and you know, those Hellions are going to come to get him soon. after they tag the Zelnara Watchtowers, it seems.
Yeah, and those first 2 to 4 Hellions, those aren't going to do any major damage, especially after the Hellion nerf. These are mainly for scouting, and what he's doing now is just clearing the Watchtowers for map control. Just denying any scoutability of the Zerg player at all. And what we're really going to see is, instead of going Marauders, it looks like we're going for the Banshee play. As soon as we get 150 minerals, that's my guess. Any second now. There we have it.
It looks like the Hellions, and the Hellions are coming in, and they're roasting these Zerglings. If the Zerglings did just get their speed, they're going to be able to do a little bit of damage to these Hellions, but not quite enough. That is quite actually a few Hellions, and it looks like these Queens are going to try and go for the block, make sure that these Hellions can't put too much pressure on.
Yeah, the Queens are just going to make sure that there's no run-by specifically. This is actually a really good spine
he's actually going to might lose those Creep Tumor there, though.
That's actually not too big of a loss, as there's already a Creep Tumor up here that can instantly throw down again, so that's not too big of a deal. But he needs to start spreading out either some of these Zerglings or Queens, as 4 Hellions will one-shot a set of drones. And just looking at, we do have Cloak also being researched, but he's supply blocked, so this extra Banshee is actually a little behind, and now he's unsupply blocked, and drops a Mule Spider. But he'll probably wait until he has about 2 to 4 Banshees before he pushes out. I'm actually very surprised he cut Marine production completely, as he's just going pure Hellion and Queen, and pure Hellion and Banshee, I'm sorry. But what I was going to say is Endless needs to have probably at least 4 Queens, because the Queens are actually going to do well to stop any Hellion run-bys, and they're going to do very well against those Banshees, as long as Endless is able to get any early detection. And we do have the Lair Echo, but...
Actually, the Spire is even down. It's about halfway completed now, so if Endless Waltz can actually just hold up a little bit with those Queens that he does have against the Banshees, he should be able to get out some Mutalisks to clean up any of the Banshee harass that does come out.
Yeah, and Endless wasn't able to see the Banshees, but he's about to be hit by it very shortly, as all these Hellions and Banshees are converging and actually picking off those Creep Tumors. One of them was cancelled, luckily. But Endless knows that this push is coming and has seen these Banshees, and Cloak has finished. And one of these Queens are going to go down immediately, and that's going to be extremely bad, as those are the only anti-air units right now, but the Spire is nearly complete. That means there's 33 seconds away from getting Mutas out, so as long as Endless Waltz can survive for 33 seconds, and with this terrible Banshee control, he needs to pick off other things other than Zerglings. This is the worst thing to target right now. And finally, he's up, killing a few drones, and we have these Mutalisks on the way, and as soon as these Mutalisks are popped, this entire attack is thwarted, as long as Endless doesn't die in the next, 15 seconds, I estimate.
But, I have to say, Crusader is doing a great job picking up just all these other units so that the Hellions can now move in. And these Hellions are actually roasting an insane number of drones. Oh my god. And actually 25 workers already killed. And that's really going to be hurting Endless Waltz's economy.
But we can look, he's only about 10 drones behind and already on 2 bases. Should be alright. Even bringing some drones around, I don't know if this was a mistake, and yes it was, as he's bringing those back. Oops, wrong button. But now Crusader's on the back foot, as he has nothing to really stop these Hellions. These Hellions actually getting really good placement, very hard for these Zerglings to surround, so maximum splash damage for these Hellions, as essentially 3 Hellions hold off all of those Zerglings. A very big benefit. Oh, and one Muta was accidentally
from Crusader on that.
And now with the first scores out, and you can see that Crusader does own the Collector's Edition of Starcraft 2 with those big fancy wings.
And actually, good job by Crusader. It does manage to save that reactor on the factory that the Mutalisks were harassing. He definitely does not want to let that burn down, as he is still utilizing that for those Hellions to deal with these Zerglings.
And it looks like he's going straight for Thor Banshee play right now, which is very interesting. As long as Endless doesn't clump up his Mutalisks, he should be fine. And actually, the more and more time that he spends building Crusader spends building Thors, it makes his Zerglings even stronger. And we do have...
Oh, those Mutilus are getting clumped up. Oh no, and the Thors start to volley.
Oh, but only one hit seemed to damage
much.
only 2 Mutilus, so that's actually very good. Endless needs to start this constant kind of harassment, poking in and out. We do have one Banshee that looks like he's going to try to get some scouting information and just be extremely annoying if you pull back the Mutilus at least.
You know, I think this is such a great thing to do. Oftentimes, players will create the Banshees just for that early surprise, and then they actually just stop doing anything with them. And I think this is a great move to do, but you know, he does have to be careful of those Mutilus. Yeah, the Banshee does actually manage to get... I think it died with about 12 or 13 kills, so pretty useful and cost-effective Banshee.
Very cost-effective. It was part of the original Banshees. And we already have Endless blocking this third, and with Endless already taking his own third and making a lot of drones for it, as long as Endless can kind of secure the situation, he should be fine. But to really do this, and making a Viking is actually, I don't think, a very good choice, since Vikings die so quickly to Mutas, but that's what happened.
You know, it looks like
but it looks like we're getting ready.
Right now.
Yeah, and Crusader is even pulling off some SCVs, so he is going for this Thor Hellion push with only one Banshee as support, and these are the most confused SCVs I've seen in a while. But here they go. But Counter and Mutilus are actually being able to pick off a lot of, or at least some of his gas structures, and Crusader doesn't care at all. He says, you know what, you can harass me all you want, I'm just going to go kill you. So let's see exactly how Endless is able to hold this off. We do have a nice bunch of roaches. What is that? 19 roaches and just a handful of Zerglings. So we even have 8 more roaches on the way. Roaches do extremely well versus these Hellions, and actually when you start getting to a big enough number, can nearly start one-shotting these Thors. So Endless Waltz, let's see if he's able to hold this off. As long as these Thors are taken out, the Mutilus can just clean up.
He's pulling the drones, and there's the engagement. The roaches are going in, they're hugging the Thors, and target firing them down one at a time, but the Hellions are killing off all of the drones that were pulled off, and I'm not sure that he has enough to hold this.
The drones got trapped behind the roaches, so they weren't even able to tank any damage, really, other than get completely annihilated by the Hellions. But these roaches are doing so much damage. A misrally by these Overlords as these missile turrets are taking them out. But Endless Waltz is the supply gap and actually does hold this off. You just need Mutilus to come out here and clean up these Banshees.
He lost almost all of the Mutilus to turrets over by the gold. Oh no, he's down to just 2 Mutilus now.
But Endless Waltz should know that nearly there's no defense at this gold base, so let's see if these roaches do anything to try to take this off. 2 Mutilus are standing here, and the Overseer is finally making its way to detect this Banshee, who's just being very annoying. He's 10 kills, but most of those, I assume, aren't actual roaches, and they are a combination of Zerglings and drones. SCVs just being misrallied. I don't know what these SCVs are doing. More Hellions getting ready to do some run-bys, and actually this gold base could be easily picked off by these roaches, as that's not a planetary fortress at all.
And Endless Waltz knows he has to do a lot of damage right now. He's down about 40 workers, and he's just going to go and try to cut off any of the reinforcements. Don't let the Terran group up too much, and pick off whatever he can.
We have a nice wall of supply depots right now, which makes it hard for Ling run-bys and even these roaches for this instance. These roaches are just going to break through it, though, and going to pick off these siege tanks. Do they even have... No, they don't have siege tanks, so this is going to be a big win right now. And now we just have roaches versus these Hellions, which is going to be a huge, easy cleanup for Endless Waltz right now. Only one Thor that's already damaged. Endless Waltz is going to start doing terrible, terrible damage right here. Oh, and I don't even think he hasn't even started the siege tech. If he had siege with these tanks, then that would be extremely easy to hold off this kind of roach push-off. Crusader probably will not perish with this push, but Endless is doing a lot of damage here.
Yeah, he's definitely doing a good job to try and catch up back into this. But it looks like meanwhile at the third base for Endless Waltz, the Banshee has actually racked up 30 kills and put Endless Waltz down to just 21 workers to 55. So things are also looking pretty grim for Endless. He really has to do an insane amount of damage and really end this game with this push.
And Endless is trying to get into a good position. A lot of times to really harm a Terran player is to get into these unit-producing structures, and this is exactly what these roaches are going to do. But I don't know if there's enough. Endless Waltz, I even think, needs to start making at least some Zerglings to start doing a lot more DPS to all of these buildings. And Crusader looks like he's doing a tech switch into these mass Marines, mass Bio.
But at the same time, it looks like there's one single roach at the gold, racking up 8 kills, a lot of them actually mules as well as SCVs, so this gold base actually being completely nullified. At the same time, there was that Banshee that cleaned up a lot of the roaches remaining inside of Crusader's base.
And Fear Dragon were nearly equal with workers killed by both players. It's 79 to 78. This is a big harassment game, but this gold doesn't look like it's going to stand very long. A few tanks and Panzer modes trying to clean up these roaches, but they're actually just being sacrificed. The Banshee is still plugging away up to 5 roach kills now. More misrallied SCVs, I don't know what that's about.
The roaches are doing so much damage, and they will get cleaned up eventually by that Banshee.
Endless's bird was taken out completely. I did not see what took that out, if it was a lone Banshee that just wasn't
a lone Banshee
check or what. Yeah, there's definitely a misrally as SCVs keep playing. And one unit looks like chase away this Banshee is actually going to get picked off by these Marines if he's not careful. Crusader needs to start getting stim and combat shield if he wants these Marines to do any large help. Oh, and here we have it. We do have 3 siege tanks, so these roaches are going to be at an extreme disadvantage. And Endless Waltz still does not know about this 4th, which Crusader has taken. I mean, Endless thinks he's about on even footing, but with having that extra base, and Endless is only mining from 1 base right now. Endless is not looking good right now. These tanks are taking serious shell hits onto this, and Endless says the GG right there. So it looks like LSU does win game 1 in the